Controversial opinion. I did not like Spirited Away.
Hardleg and his friends, they're gonna play a lot of games. It's Legsplay.
And welcome back to Legsplay. Hardleg Joe here with a CB radio.
I can't speak to you right now. I just
We're playing more Wizorb. I decided to start that because you mentioned a Ghibli film at the end of last episode.
Mm-hmm.
And
Why did you not like it?
I don't really like most of the Ghibli films I've seen. I've not seen a whole lot of them, to be fair. But I like Porco Rosso more than Spirited Away.
And why is that?
It was just more compelling. I just didn't care about this girl and her problems.
Okay.
It's like there's like nothing to her character. She's just like there, and then she's gonna save her parents from a thing.
Well, it's more of her growing up and dealing with the fact that she's moving away.
Is she moving away?
Mm-hmm. There's a lot more symbolism in that, and the fact that if you read about it online, I won't do it justice.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
you have to comment in the comments if you like Spirited Away. But I've seen it like 4 times, and I've never really enjoyed it. I didn't find the characters all that compelling. I didn't find the story all that interesting. Most of the design, everyone likes to praise. Every time I hear it praised, it's always because like of its creative, original like art design. But it's like a lot of the designs are just based off of like folklore stuff. Like I feel like a lot of people just think they're like super creative because it's not like American folklore.
Well, that is to be true, but
like just because you're not familiar with the folklore doesn't mean it's a
design.
Like
I don't know about
something.
design, but I do know the execution of the actual artwork is Ghibli is always amazing.
Yeah.
It's flowing lines and really they just.
I think they move around. Oh, did I get hit on the bottom again? Okay.
But yeah, the actual movies that he makes are really just gorgeous, and I love them.
Yeah, I mean that's the visuals are really nice. The sound design is really nice. I can't say much about the acting because obviously I don't speak Japanese.
Oh, you don't watch it with the American voice acting?
I've seen both. I don't know what that did. I think it sped things up.
Yeah.
Oh God! And I lost my wand again.
Your security wall.
I'm so sad. And my security wall. A sad state of affairs.
Let that be a lesson to you kids. Don't deal with purple things.
Yep, purple things are dangerous. But yeah, it's one of those. It's not like I wouldn't consider them a bad movie. I just don't.
You just don't connect with. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. It doesn't do anything for me. Like on a technical level, they're like well put together and everything. I just don't get. It was I forget who it was. Some channel had recently like gone through like we're gonna watch every Ghibli movie, and they were like, Spirited Away is a masterpiece. It's a perfect movie in every way, and I was like, really? And I just remember like I believe it was the Nostalgia Critic. He did the same thing where he went over every Ghibli movie, and he was the same like Spirited Away is perfect or it's the best Ghibli movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, I just don't get it.
Well, my personal favorite is Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, but
I think he liked that one a lot too. It's gonna be it's another one. Oop, okay, there we go.
But yeah, Spirited Away is one of my favorite ones simply for the fact that just her dealing with those problems was something that spoke to me on a personal level. Like just her getting the resolve to actually to move on was kind of her character arc. And that was something that was very personal for me.
Yeah, I didn't really get that because it's like oh she has to be strong enough to do this stuff and help her parents. Like, well, what is she gonna do? Work at the bathhouse for the rest of her life with monsters? Like, I feel like if you put someone in a terrible situation where they have no chance to, where like they have to escape to survive. Of course they're going to do extraordinary things. Like, I feel like a lot of people... Well, maybe not. I don't know, it's hard to say how many people would just, like, give up in that situation and how many people would press on. But if there's anything... I remember... Who was that guy from, like, the 128 Hours or whatever it was called?
127 Hours?
Yeah.
You mean James Franco?
Ooh, what is this? I don't have enough money.
You don't have the slow time.
It's fine. I still like more balls. Comment in the comments, more balls. That was a bad...
Yeah, that was a bad idea. I don't know why you went for that.
I should have done so. Okay. Stop it. Go away. Stop. Go away. But, yeah, it's just one of those things where and I've seen it from other people, too. I'm trying to think of other examples, but I just remember having him have an interview and be like, you know, people are like, how could you possibly do that? And he's like, well, the other option was die alone in a canyon of, like, starvation and dehydration. Like, there's a lot of things that you wouldn't think you'd be willing to do until you're faced with certain death.
It's not so much of, like, the perseverance on her part, which, though, is still a pretty impressive story on that rate, because she deals with a lot of weird.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, like, there is something compelling about someone dealing with a challenge they've been forced into. I'm not saying those type of stories are always bad, but I'm saying it's hard for me to, like, admire those characters necessarily, unless they do something that's, like, very clever or ingenious or something, and I just didn't really understand a lot of her situation, too. I guess that would be another thing.
Well, her situation, like, at the beginning, like I said, is she is just dealing with this feeling of being abandoned.
Yeah.
Like, she's being not abandoned, but, like, forced away from her friends and everything. It's kind of like Inside Out in that way.
Yeah.
But dealing with it from a different angle, from a more magical angle.
Magic.
But it's, I don't know, I'd have to watch it again to give you a good thing on that, but it's something that spoke to me for at least at one point.
Yeah, and I mean, that, again, it's just my opinion. It's just weird it's weird to me because it's one of those movies I was like, oh yeah, that's a good way to pass time, and other people are like, it's a masterpiece, but I never really heard, like, good, compelling reasons for why
I consider no movie a masterpiece other than Money Pit.
Money Pit? I don't think I've seen that. I consider Citizen Kane a masterpiece.
Yeah, maybe. And yeah, what about oh crap, I can't remember. Oh yeah, The Room.
The Room. Yeah.
Purest of masterpieces.
My favorite movie is Ink. I'm not sure if I'd consider that a masterpiece. Probably not, just because it had a lot of, like, weird budget. There's a lot of budget things, and the acting's not solid all the way through, and there's shaky cam fights that really didn't need to be there. But the themes really spoke to me.
Mm-hmm.
Good old themes. Yeah, the wind. Yeah, the wind saved me. I get a coffee cup.
Yeah, I know.
It was filled with piss.
Yeah, I kind of noticed.
Or it could have been beer, I guess.
I'm gonna go with piss because that's a really yellow.
Yep. But yeah, I said last time I was gonna talk about one of my other story ideas, because I had that one before about my weird dreams with the puppet thing. Ooh, this one's kind of tricky.
It seems to be tricking itself into it.
Yeah, but I mean the later parts are. Nope. Aw, I spent that and it got one. Sadness. So I figure I'd go ahead and tell other ideas, just to see what people think of them. But my grand sci-fi epic that's barely written, but I have the basic idea for it and some of the universe and stuff. But the whole thing, the main thing about it, as far as, like, aesthetic-wise, was that it was a aesthetic. The basic plot of it is it's a universe, like, big, grand, open universe, and there are no humans, because humans are sort of like these mythical creatures that disappeared a long time ago, and then, like,
i.e. any ancient race and any kind of, like, space.
Yeah. Basically, like, humans are sort of like the forerunners in their thing.
Mm-hmm.
And part of what makes the humans seem so mystical to them is that, unlike almost all life on Earth, none of the alien race designs were symmetrical. So, like, rather than having a bunch of bipedal races, or even things that are based off, like, regular animals, they were completely and utterly alien. You had, like, creatures where it's like a head, sort of, with, like, 3 arms sticking out of them, but
horrifying Cthulhu-ish monsters.
Not even horrifying, just sort of like, you see them and it's almost like this evolved? This made it off a planet? Like, how?
Like the what is it, Sid stuff from Toy Story, where it's just like,
Yeah. Even then, like, you had, yeah, kind of like the Sid stuff.
just
everything.
A hook, fishing hook with legs on it, or
Yeah.
a hooker.
Ha 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 ha.
Ha ha! Brad Bird, you're funny.
Just think, like, aliens with, like, one eye, so they don't have good depth perception, so they have to use, like, outside objects to help measure depth, or they have, like, one eye, and then they have a really long arm that can help them to determine, like, how far away things are by literally feeling it out. And then, like, now that they're in starships, they all wear sort of, like, a device that tells them how far away things are from them. But it's like, on their planet, they just literally, as they evolved, had to feel out where everything was, because they had no depth perception.
Ticking around with, evolution and making it weird.
Yeah. Just sort of this idea that, like, instead of having everything be humanish, like, nothing is humanish. And instead of having humans be, like, the boring race, humans are like, no, they can walk under their own power. They had 2 strong arms. They had binocular vision. They could smell chemicals in the air. They could speak without having to touch people or without having to be, like, right next to them. And to all these other races that are just sort of like these weird, barely functioning, like, misfits of evolution, like, that seems almost godly.
That is the name of my band.
Misfits of Evolution?
No, weirdly misshapen Misfits of Evolution.
What would the acronym for that?
I don't...
WMOE? Moi!
That's actually pretty good.
Something like that.
We are moi.
Oh.
We are Sex Bomb. We're here to play sad music and make you feel sad and stuff.
Make you think about death and feel sad and stuff.
Yeah. I don't like the movie.
I like that movie a lot, but that's just because it inspired me musically for the most part.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm just like, it doesn't really... anything that involves... I think that Michael Cera?
Yeah.
Yeah, anything that involves him, I'm instantly like, can I punch him first?
I usually don't like him in movies, but I really thought he kind of nailed the Scott Pilgrim. Like, relatably, like, awkward.
Mm-hmm. But that's why I'm like, can I punch him
first? Most of the time
first?
he's, like, cringeworthy awkward, but the fact that he, like... The problems he had were really relatable, and the fact that he could, like... He did have some things he did, like playing the bass, and you know, he did manage to get a girlfriend. Even if he didn't know how to treat her correctly.
You got 2 girlfriends. That's
yeah.
Spoiler alert for everyone who hasn't watched. Yeah. But yeah, like that. I don't know. That movie just the only thing that was fun for me was the fights and the music. I can't deny that the music is good in that movie.
Yep.
But
Beck did a good job of writing it.
He did?
Yep.
Huh. I just really...
He improvised most of it to give it a garage band feel.
Huh. Well, one of those songs definitely flew up. I hear the voices, stereo, like the...
Threshold?
Threshold, yeah.
I love Threshold.
Threshold's an awesome song. It's just like, the movie itself, the main character is the hero, I just can't stand him.
That's understandable. It's one of those movies, like, I love it, but I completely get why people wouldn't like it. Especially because it does have almost an avant-garde sort of, like, regard to how the world's, the mechanics of the world work. Like, I have a lot of problems with, like, I really didn't like Kim Possible, because I can't get into, like, comedy action stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's, like, it's too goofy for me to take the action seriously. And, like, there's too much action when like, if it was just pure comedy, I could just laugh at it. But when they have comedy and then they try to take it seriously, like, most of the time it just doesn't work for me.
So I'm scratching, watching Hudson Hawk off of my list for showing you movies.
I've seen Hudson Hawk.
That's a movie that definitely does not take science seriously in the slightest.
Oh, yeah, but that's supposed to just be a fun movie. There's never a time where they have, like, an emotional, like, they try to have any sort of emotional investment in the characters, really. Other than just sort of like, they're friends, and then maybe they have troubles.
Okay.
I just felt like a lot of people tried to put more into Kim Possible and, like, the relationship between her and Ron and stuff than it really earned. It should have just been, like, a goofy thing about a kid who's a spy.
Yeah. But no, it's kind of like Danny Phantom for you then.
Danny Phantom, I felt, did a better job of that, actually. Like, I enjoyed Danny Phantom. For the most part. My only problem with or not my own, my main problem with, I mean, I didn't love Danny Phantom or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was a good show. My main problem with Danny Phantom is just the fact that, like, everything is ghosts.
Yes. Well, that's mainly everybody else's problem because they kind of, that's what the studio did.
I don't know, it's weird because, like, I could have swore that I had seen something with Butch Hartman talking about how, like, he wanted to have werewolves and vampires and like supernatural things other than ghosts, and Nickelodeon was like, nah, dog, you ain't going out that way. They're like, no, you can't have a vampire because sucking, like, it implies that he sucks blood even if you don't show him sucking blood. Or, like, you can't have a werewolf because, like, it has to be a ghost. Or, like, you can't imply that ghosts are dead people. At least not very strongly. So that's why you had to have this whole, like, there's a ghost dimension, and ghosts are, like, these other... They're not, like, ghosts in the traditional thing. They're, like, other dimensional beings. And they just call them ghosts. But they never bring that up. It's just weird to me. It's like, you have a guy named Vlad who has a cloak and, like, spiked hair and, like, is clearly a vampire, but he's not a vampire.
Yeah.
I just felt like the thing could have... It could have been, like, not more adult, but it could have been aimed more at, like, teenagers, and had, like, actual dealt with, like, some death, and it just didn't.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of stuff where, like, yeah, the thing about Danny Phantom for me is just,
what do you have left
lost
to get in
potential. That one right there, Joe, point to it. But you have to hit it from behind.
Giggity. That's ridiculous.
And I can't, okay.
You can't teleport? You can teleport it.
I can't, it won't let me. It's sad.
No, it's Wizorb! There we go.
It worked!
Magic!
I thought I had to use magic, but it wasn't magic. It was just the luck of the luck of the luck.
Of the Irish?
Yep. But, no, going back to my story, so, yeah, just the basic idea, like, you have that universe, and then there's a guy, basically, like, a lot of the nations are at war over various territories and stuff like that, and the story follows an alien who's basically, like, a scrap collector. So it's like, in the aftermath of a big battle, there's all these, like, ships out in space, and he's just like, free scrap metal! And he's going around collecting things, and he finds a human, like, just floating out in space. And he picks him up and brings him in, and the human has no memories. And then it's just about discovering, like, is he actually human? What happened to the humans? What are the humans? Did humans actually even, like, exist? Because there are a lot of, I toyed back and forth about whether or not I wanted to have mecha, like, in it, essentially. Which would make sense where it's like, you know, if you have all these aliens, and then humans are considered, like, this angelic sort of perfect design, how you might want to have, like, robots that sort of resemble them, in the same way that a samurai would wear a helmet that looked kind of like an Oni or something. Like, you would have a ship in the shape of, like, a human that would fight and hold things in its arms. Because humans are sort of this...
2 arms? Oh!
2 arms! 2 arms, and they're both the same shape, roughly. Who could believe in
the
such a
symmetricalness of your ship is amazing.
And same thing, there would be, like, there are aliens that can get, not can get, but they get, like, genetic modifications or, like, robotic modifications to help them do things, and a lot of them help them look more human. So there'd be a lot of, like, going around, like, oh, you're a human? Well, there's this person on this planet who claims to be human, they lead a cult. And then they go there, and it turns out, like, it's an alien, basically, like, with prosthetic arms and legs that make it look like a human. Or it's like a cyborg built in the shape of a human or something. And then, of course, there are people who want to capture... He basically... The hero has to, like, uncover the fakes while also convincing people that he's a fake. So he has to, like, wear prosthetics or pretend that he's, like, not a human. Because otherwise, the people are like, is that a god walking around? You can't just walk around as a god. I'm not sure if anyone told you, but those usually don't exist. Not like walking around like that anyway.
This isn't ancient Rome.
Yep.
Or, for me, Biblio times.
Biblical times.
The Garden of Eden.
The Garden of Gardens. Garden is a good song by July Talk. Look that up. Comment in the comments if you've heard of them. I showed Brandon them right before this.
Mm-hmm.
And Brandon is CB Radio, and that's your name.
That's me!
We're learning so many... When I say the obvious in a conversation, I sound smart because I'm always right.
Yep. Obviously.
Fun tactic. Cool. Oh, it's not a trick. It's actual treasure. Yay!
Turns out that was a trick!
Treasure for you and treasure for me. I like treasure and I like to pee.
You missed the term to put treasury.
You get to something with the treasury. No! Damn it.
Does he use magic to have it stick to you?
Nope.
Okay.
I used magic because I did the wind.
I know.
Damn it, I shot the wind again, and I meant that. Good old Jan Tran. I'm glad he's not making racist rants anymore. That's always good.
Is he, like, apologizing, or?
Kind of. I don't know. It doesn't really bother me that much. As long as he's not, like, there's one thing to be like, I have dumb opinions, and there's another thing to be like, with the Chick-fil-A guy, where it's like, every dollar you spend at my business is a dollar that goes towards an organization that is actively trying to put down gays. And it's like, well, I probably don't want to...
Oh!
Ooh, oof. It's like, well, I probably don't want to eat there. Not if they're going to be doing that stuff. Because I have no problem with gay people. I have no problem with most people. I don't think I would want to fund any organization that just actively tries to, like, those guys?
Except for
those
Hawaiians.
guys. Except for Hawaiians. Damn pineapple-eating bastards.
You mean Samoans? No.
Samoans are angels on Earth. If you're Samoan, please contact me. I would love to, even if it's just to call me like a fuckface and shit on me, like you would. Oh, Samoans.
But Hawaiians.
There's a reason there's so many volcanoes. It's God's way of trying to kill you.
Satire.
It's not satire because I'm not making fun of. It's hyperbole.
There we go.
Non sequiturs.
Oh, I love that Digimon.
It's one of those things where it's like, I remember especially when I was like a more cringy teenager who didn't. This is why I like have a lot of sympathy for like someone like PewDiePie, because it's like when I was younger, like I was taught from an early age that like race didn't matter. So I thought racism was funny because of how absurd it was.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, wait, there are people who actually think that, like, because your skin is darker, you're dumber.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of, I always use the example of, like, there's a joke in, I guess it's a joke. There's a joke in Anchorman where they're like, we can't have a woman working here. Their menstruals attract bears. They're like, is that what you want? Bears in here? And it's just the idea that, like, someone could think something so absurd is ridiculous.
Oh, no. It's definable trait.
Yeah. so that's what it's like. I love the idea of being, like,
just thinking that it's ridiculous.
Just Vel-helmetly, like, against a group of people.
Ooh. Alright, that's your word for the day, Joe. Vel-helmetly.
You're welcome.
Put it up there.
That's also the name of my new girlfriend. This is Vel-helmetly. Nice to meet you.
My name is Vel-helmet.
If I ever have a daughter.
No, don't.
Hardleg Helmetly. You're welcome. Also,
You
my
have
last name is Helmetly now. I hope you don't mind.
You're worse. You are like the worst kind of father.
Yep. Hardleg Joe Helmetly at your service.
Mm-hmm. You
No,
can search
I
that all you like.
Forget if I like when it comes to name, because I've had a number of girlfriends where I had this conversation about like, oh, pardon me, big burp. where it's like where there was a chance that like maybe we might want to consider kids. If we did, what would we name them? Just sort of like it's a fun
Boy
thing.
1, girl 2.
Yep. And one of the things that I always like, they're
Comment in the comments for a name for your kid.
a name. What would you name your kids? Well, actually, I'm more interested to know. So, what was it? I had one girlfriend in particular who was very much like, she wanted to give. She's like, if we have a kid, they have to have the most like normal sounding name. Like they have to be like Jake or like Daniel or David. Or if it's a girl, like it has to be like Alice
or Chartreuse.
Mary or Sue, like just something very basic and common. Because she was insistent that like if you give your kid a weird name,
they'll be made fun of.
They'll be made fun of. Yeah, they'll be mocked. They won't fit in with society. And I was very much like, you know, if you give your kid a weird name, like if you give them a weird name, if you force them to sort of be unique, then they'll in turn be unique.
Maybe.
Like maybe they'll be a criminal, or maybe they'll be like a sports star, but if you give them a unique name, it sort of forces them to be interesting.
That's why I'm naming my first kid the Monarch Storm 4th. Yu-Gi-Oh reference.
So my thing was always like, okay, let's compromise on this. If I have a kid, we'll name him. If we have a son.
If I have a kid.
If I have a kid, then it's my rules. I just fucking asexually reproduced. You didn't even know I could do that. Maybe I'm some kind of wizard.
Or a
Wizorb!
Wizorb!
Yep. Oh, and I died.
Too much enthusiasm in that.
Yep. But like we have a son. We're gonna name him Cole. You know, it's a standard name. Very, very nice. Like, you know, there's lots of people named Cole. But his middle name is Train. Because,
and
you know,
his favorite song is about unshaved chest.
But I'm just saying, like, you know, that way, if he wants to just be like, you know, Cole Smith, you know, he can live his normal life. But if he turns out to be like a football player, he's the motherfucking Cole Train. Woo woo!
Or he has
or
to, he's a jazz musician.
Yeah. Or just any musician. You just have a band and call it the Cole Train.
Mm-hmm.
The Cole Train Experience, baby.
The first album has to be called, what is it?
Was this not breaking anything?
Yeah, it's apparently very, very weak. Either that or it's just, there we go.
Oh, it has to, okay.
It has to, do that for
it has
a certain...
to break a regular brick before it'll, okay. There we go.
First album has to be called The Long Haul.
I've yet to think of like what the female version of that would be, if anyone has any ideas. But just in general, I'd like your ideas like...
Damn it! That's the name. That's it!
Damn it, Janet. That's a Rocky Horror Picture Show reference. But
if you have a fire in my heart and you fan it, Janet.
Yeah, it can't break the tougher bricks.
Oh no, it has...
It breaks a littler brick.
Mm.
I figured it out. It's like that old show on whatchamacallit. Somewhere had a show.
I feel like the name Amber Storm would be good.
Maybe. Or like Amber Mammoth.
There you go.
Mammoth Smith.
I'm
not.
What's your name? Amber Mammoth.
Amber Mammoth. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that would work. I can't think of like what would Amber Mammoth's job be. What unique career? What artistic?
That you just got to be a singing telegram. I think at that point you have to kick in the door and be, I am Amber Mammoth.
Amber Mammoth Smith. Amber Mammoth Johnson. Johnstone.
Johnson just adds gravitas to any name.
Rodriguez. You could be something Amber Mammoth Rodriguez.
My name is Terry Rodriguez.
Yep. The yellow dart. No snorting allowed. There's a no snort zone right here.
Then how am I going to do my loads and loads of cocaine?
Very carefully. In a way that isn't necessarily illegal.
You can't do that.
I like to pretend, alright? It's the only way I can survive in this world is by pretending. To pretend I'm happy.
Ooh,
People ask me if
skills.
oh, yeah. I have great pretending skills. I'm top-notch pretender.
They call me the Pretender.
Yep.
There goes all of your smiles.
Oh, I don't have enough to do it again. I wanted to kill more smiles. Comment in the comments if I've killed your smile.
Comment in the comments if he's revitalized your smile.
Have I revitalized? Are you a happy Harrington? Do you even know what that means? I don't.
That just means that you killed more smiles again.
Oh,
It's
hey,
just-
there's another door over there. I didn't even see it.
That's adorable.
Ha 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 hee ha hoo. Hop and Sell Incorporated. We're gonna do it. Give us any chance, we'll take it. Give us any rules,
We'll break it.
I'm gonna
Make my dreams come true.
and we'll do
Do
it
it
our
our
way.
way.
Yes, our
I
way.
Don't remember enough of was it Laverne and Shirley?
I don't. I'm trying to remember if I ever saw a full episode.
The only I forgot you went for threes.
Yep.
Yeah, the only I'd say show that I know the theme to is actually a theme that isn't played, doesn't have actual words to it. In the show, but in the movie, I know the actual
I
lines.
know the words to the songs. It doesn't have any words.
It's the theme to MASH because
Oh.
it's originally.
Suicide
It is painless. It comes in many faces,
Oh,
and I can take or leave it. If you know the actual, because I may have screwed that up.
that's an actual song.
Yeah. Oh, you missed all three of your balls.
It's okay. I didn't need that many balls anyway. Call me good old one-ball Johnson.
Smith.
Smith. John Smith.
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez.
One ball Rodriguez.
Man, if your name was Johnson Smith Rodriguez, you'd be set.
Johnson Smith Rodriguez Holiday.
Johnson Smith Rodriguez. Holiday.
I have come to take your women.
And some of the men. And your tacos. Oh, the delicious tacos.
And now we're getting racist a little bit.
What? No. Brazilian accent. Don't tell me otherwise. Even though I have fans from Brazil.
I just feel like that's pushing it, because not everyone likes tacos, Joe.
I don't like tacos. I don't eat vegetables.
I don't even know you anymore.
So, you know, tacos are like mostly vegetable.
No, they're tortillas and meat, and then you could get cheese or vegetables.
Huh.
Clearly, you haven't been showing your skills in taco ingesting as well as I have.
Nope.
I
don't
cut out
really
the
like
middleman
the
and just
taco
go for meat on taco, which sounds like the name of a really bad meat on taco.
Taco Tuesday comes back with a vengeance. Hey, it did it. Also, I went from 22 lives to 14. Also, this last level is taking...
A lot
A lot
longer.
longer.
Yeah.
Or I think we're on the boss now.
No,
Ooh.
welcome to prison
Treasure.
to prison happiness. What am I?
Welcome to Robot Hell.
Welcome to hell. You're being tortured.
I forget, what episode was that on
That
again?
is not from an episode. That's from a I don't remember what movie it is, but it was apparently substantially bad.
Huh. I believe you made that joke, though, at one point before.
Mm. Well, it's
That's where I heard it.
yeah. It's essentially in this movie apparently hell has a lot of really weird and stupid ways of torturing people, but one of them was it
Oops.
there's a Taco Bell Pizza Hut, and whenever you go up there it's just Taco Bell. And it's just like, welcome to hell, you're being tortured.
You're welcome. There we go.
Just
Whatever.
very strange joke, but at my current job, I have heard it repeated several times.
This reminds me, I don't suppose, in fact, I'm pretty sure you've never read Johnny the Homicidal Maniac.
No, but you've told me about it.
Yep. Their depiction of hell was interesting.
What was it?
It was just like Earth, except for without any of the good people in it. Like the hell, like the devil didn't have to do anything. Like he just put all the people who were worthy of going to hell in one place.
And they made it bad themselves.
They made it bad. Yeah, hell is other people.
Misery doesn't love company. Hell just exacerbates the.
I remember it was like there. He like goes there and there's like everything costs money, and he's like, but why? He's like, you're dead. Like we don't need stuff, and they're like, yeah, I don't like. No one like people didn't analyze the situation they were in. Just at some point they had come up with an economic system. And like there's all this disparity and people are working like 90 hours a week to like get all this money, and he's like, but you're dead. you don't need money.
No, my favorite depiction of hell that doesn't really fit with any crap. With any kind of conformity is supernatural. Like after a certain demon takes over hell, he just turns it into a long waiting line, and when you get to the end, you literally start over. So it's just like that. Just sounds like the worst kind of thing I could possibly think of.
What was it? In Johnny, did I ever tell you what his their version of heaven was?
What?
It's basically just fluffy clouds, and there's a whole bunch of chairs, and everyone in heaven is granted with omnipotence and like omnipresence. Like they're able to do anything, but because they're responsible and kind, they choose not to use their powers. So they just sit around and like enjoy knowing that they could do anything, but don't.
That's kind of pretentious. What?
And then he goes there and causes a fight, and all the like nuns start making their heads explode. But then they just form back. Instead, they gets kicked out of heaven.
Okay, that's yeah.
Yeah, it was an interesting. It's when it starts out, and to be fair, in a lot of it, it's just sort of like, kind of cringy, like super grim dark. It's about this guy who's like a maniac. Achievement unlocked. Infinite loop?
What?
No? I didn't infinite loop. I don't know what you're talking about.
We'll figure out what that is later.
I guess they... Well, I watched Game Grumps play the first episode of this, and they got that achievement when they got their Wizorb stuck in like between a bunch of like it was just making a figure 8 through a bunch of stuff.
Okay, so that's how you
get
it.
Never, but like it was going. Maybe it's just if it doesn't touch the paddle long enough or something.
Maybe if it makes the figure 8 and it hasn't touched the paddle.
But yeah, the first couple episodes are just sort of like these sort of like really dark comedy of Johnny like kidnapping people and like torturing them or killing them in like weird or interesting ways or for weird reasons. It sounds like really bad. Like it's not really all that graphic. It's just it makes fun of like the situations in which like he makes a point of like. One guy's like, wait, why are you going to kill me? And he's like, well, I have this wall in my basement, you see, and I need to paint it with blood, because if I don't, the demons are going to come out, and they're going to kill me. Like, oh, so you're crazy then.
Yeah.
And for the most part, it seems like he's crazy, but he keeps getting more and more reckless with like...
final
hey,
boss.
It's a devil.
It's
or
death.
It's a Grim Reaper.
It's death, and after you fight this, then you have to fight Dracula.
Yay.
Castlevania references.
Deathula, which is like Dracula, but with
fundamental differences.
Fundamental differences. But there's a part where he gets angry at like these people in a fast food restaurant. He not only kills everyone in the restaurant and all the people who work there, but he actually goes back behind the counter and kills all the roaches in the kitchen too. They're like, he went through the trouble of killing literally everything that was alive in the entire restaurant.
That's kind of dedication, yeah.
Like, that's what I'm saying, like, over the top. And it's one of the, like, you don't see him, it's just like, he's getting really frustrated with the people in the counter, and then the people also be, like, talking to the people at the counter, and he's just like, everyone's an asshole! And then, like, you just see him getting really frustrated, and then he's, like, at home hearing about it on the TV. And there's, like, a news reporter, like, more than 42 people killed in a like strange massacre. Police have no idea who's in charge, but apparently he even killed all the cockroaches in the kitchen.
And is it
Haha. But then later on it turns out like, yeah, there are demons in his wall, and if he wasn't painting them with blood, then they would actually come out.
just...
Achievement, cheat death. 'Cause I beat death, get it?
Ah.
Ha 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 ha.
I thought because
Whoa, hey! Netherworld? I didn't unlock this last time. I thought this was the last level.
No. What you need to do is you need to get some redstone.
Going to the nether, doing that. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I got it. It's a Minecraft.
I'm topical.
I mind my crafts.
All right.
Sarah, welcome. Yep. But either way, I think we're probably done for now.
Yeah.
We had our 2 episodes again. If you want to see more episodes, you know.
If you enjoyed this, just tell us in the comments.
Maybe we'll go back. I guess it would be one more episode.
And
if you wanted to see the last one, we could probably come back and do it.
To what is it to bring home a point that was said in the last episode, if that was a podcast idea strikes your fantasy, just give us a holler about it.
Yeah, let us know what you think about the podcast idea. Pay 300. There we go.
Yeah.
I got an extra life. And
I
a key
will
also.
remember you.
Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Now the town's rebuilt, so there's no reason to donate your nickel. All right. Yeah, larger one.
But we need to rebuild our houses.
Next time on Legsplay, something else.
Okay.
No more jokes. Stop it.
But joke's on you.
Comment in the comments if you comment in the comments. Comment in the comments if you comment in the comments. But if you like these guys.